Good morning, everybody. It's Friday the 14th of August and welcome to another of my weekly video messages. Well, we've now gone more than 110 days since we last had an infection in the hospital. That is, of course, fantastic news and is very much, I think, a result of some very strict infection control measures we're taking, which includes the wearing of masks in the hospital. So here's a very important message about the wearing of masks. I'm joined here by John, our admirable security guard, with whom I've had the pleasure of sitting on reception 3 times a week, greeting staff coming to work. And we are here wearing masks. Why are we both wearing masks? Well, we have recently upgraded our mask wearing policy in the hospital, which means that if you come into the hospital building, you have to wear a mask on the way in. No entry to the hospital without a face mask. This is very similar to actually law going into a shop. So that means on your way to the hospital, you have to have already prepared to have a mask ready to put on or a face covering when you actually enter the main entrance to the building. Why are we doing this? Well, we've gone more than 110 days without infection, but we want to keep it that way. So we are doing this to protect our patients, any relatives who may be visiting when visiting is allowed, and our staff. We are all doing this to protect each other. We're actually especially doing it to protect John here. Why? Because John and his colleagues who are on reception later in the day are sitting on reception with everybody going past. So it's really important that we adhere to this policy in order to protect people like John and all the rest of our staff and our patients. We want to continue to keep infection out of the hospital. So whatever you do on your way to work in the morning or if it's at night shift in the evening, please prepare to put a mask on before you enter the door to the building. Thanks very much. Now, at the end of last week, that was the end of the second period of 2 weeks where we were able to have visitors, relatives visiting their loved ones in the hospital. And I know the fact that it's been done on a very limited basis is obviously quite frustrating for people to cope with. But again, I'm sure you'll all understand this is in the interests of preventing further infection from coming into the hospital. So we are now in the middle of a period of pausing visiting again. During that period, we'll actually be testing for coronavirus every patient in the hospital. We need to make absolutely sure that the resumption of visiting didn't bring any fresh infection in. So next week you can expect to see some news about plans for the next stage of visiting. I have to say it will by necessity still have to be on a restricted basis, but we do understand how much people do want to come visit their loved ones here. So please bear with us as we continue to go through this phase of very much trying to keep infection out of the hospital, very mindful of the fact that there is a risk of a second wave of infection, which we're starting to see increasingly in continental Europe. We may or may not see it in the UK, but we're determined to do all we can to keep further infection out of the hospital. Now, this is a message for staff. Within the hospital, you will know that we've had a degree of being able to reopen the Rees restaurant in terms of grab and go, cold food, pre-ordered hot food. And I'm pleased to be able to say that as from this coming Monday, we will actually be reopening the hot counter so that people can come and buy food on the spot. It will still be for takeaway only, and of course social distancing has to be respected within the Reed serving area. But we just wanted to provide a little bit more for staff who are at work. And of course, an increasing number of staff who've been working from home are starting to come back to the hospital. And if you're only just coming back, welcome back to you, and I look forward to see you around about the place, albeit suitably socially distanced and wearing masks. The last thing I have to say is to draw your attention to a note that I sent out yesterday to all staff. And it's actually some sad news, and that is that our excellent Director of Nursing, Emily McWhirter, has decided to leave the RHN and will be leaving at the end of this month, the end of August. Now, I'll have more to say about all the fantastic achievements that Emily has delivered over the 3.5 years she's been here in a couple of weeks' time, just before she leaves. But at the moment, I'll just say she has done a brilliant job here. We are sorry to lose her. From the 1st of September, in fact, the Director of Nursing position on an interim basis will be taken up by Della Warren, who will be very well known to many of you because she's been at the hospital in various roles over a period of time, including as well as interim Director of Nursing before Emily arrived. So we welcome Della back and our very best wishes and thanks to Emily going forward. But I'll have more to say about Emily in a couple of weeks' time. That's all I have to say for now, and I look forward to updating you all again this time next week. Thank you.